Welcome back. Today's book review is a powerful and compelling book titled The Absent Father Effect on Daughters, Father Desire, Father Wounds by Susan E. Schwartz, Ph.D. The book tells stories that shape us, that whisper to us in the quiet moments, that hold us back, or propel us forward. This book tells the stories of daughters who describe the insecurity of self, the splintering and disintegration of the personality, and the silencing of voice. And some of those stories, well, they start with an absence. A void where a father should be. Maybe he wasn't there at all, or maybe he was there but not present. Emotionally checked out, inconsistent, or even hurtful. And that absence, my friends, it leaves a mark.
It's a familiar ache, isn't it? That feeling of not being enough, of constantly searching for validation, of struggling to trust love. You might not even realize it's connected to your father, but it's there, simmering beneath the surface. But here's the beautiful thing about the story as contained in this book. You have the power to rewrite yours. And that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to unpack the impact of an absent father, but more importantly, we're going to talk about healing, about hope, about reclaiming your story and stepping into your worth.
Let's start with a term that might resonate deeply with you. Father hunger. Susan E. Schwartz illustrates the maladies and disappointments of daughters who lack a father figure, and incorporates clinical examples describing how daughters can break out of idealizations, betrayals, abandonments, and losses to move towards repair and renewal. It's that primal yearning for a father's love, guidance, and protection. That ache in your heart that whispers, something's missing. And it's not just about wanting a dad, it's about craving that specific kind of love, that unconditional acceptance and affirmation that a father can provide.
When that love is absent or inconsistent, it creates a void. And we as humans and social beings are wired for connection. We try to fill that void, often in unhealthy ways. Maybe we seek validation from romantic partners, hoping they can heal the wounds of the past. Maybe we overachieve in our careers, striving for external validation to prove our worth. But true healing, my friends, starts with acknowledging the hunger.
Growing up without a consistent loving father can feel like building a house on shaky ground. That foundation of self-worth, that deep-down belief that you are inherently valuable, well, it often gets compromised. Without that paternal affirmation, without that voice saying you are worthy just as you are, it's easy to internalize the message that you're not enough.
And so, we spend our lives trying to prove ourselves, to earn love and acceptance through achievements, through people-pleasing, through shrinking back and making ourselves small. But here's the revolutionary truth. Your worth is not contingent typically on your father's presence or absence. You were born worthy. Full stop.
Chapter 4. How Father Wounds Affect Relationships. We've talked about father hunger, the impact on self-worth, but let's dive into something so many of us experience, how these wounds and scars show up in our relationships. Have you ever found yourself drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable?
Or maybe you push people away fearing they can hurt you, or they can leave. You're not worthy enough.
This isn't a coincidence, it's not bad luck. This is what happens when we've experienced the deep ache of an absent father. We unconsciously seek out what feels familiar, even if that familiar is rooted in pain. We can't fix our fathers or father figure, and trying to find someone to fill that void will only leave us emptier. The key is awareness. Once we see the pattern, once we understand why we're drawn to certain types of people, we can start to make different choices. We try to rewrite the story, to finally get the love we craved from someone who resembles the one who couldn't give it. But here's the hard truth. We can't heal the past by repeating it. Chapter 5. The Silent Grief You Carry. We talk about grief as if it's only about death, about a physical absence. But what about the grief of an absent father? What about the loss of a relationship that never was, or one that was there but never quite whole?
This kind of grief is often silent, buried beneath layers of I'm fine and I've moved on. We're told to be strong, to focus on the positive.
But what about the little girl inside you still yearning for her father's care and love, who still feels the sting of his absence daily? And Father's Day is a nightmare to celebrate. We can't heal what we don't acknowledge.
We can't move forward if we're carrying around this unspoken grief, this weight of unacknowledged loss. It's okay to not be okay.
Chapter 6. Perfectionism and the Need to Prove Yourself. So many of us, especially those of us who grew up with absent fathers, struggle with this constant need to prove ourselves. We strive for perfection in everything we do, from our careers to our relationships, as if we're trying to earn something that was never given freely.
We become overachievers, people pleasers, always going the extra mile to prove our worth. We mistake achievement for love, thinking that if we just do more, be more, achieve more, then maybe, finally, we'll be enough.
But here's the painful truth. Perfectionism is not a path to love. It's a defense mechanism, a way to protect ourselves from the pain of feeling unworthy. Chapter 7. The Fear of Abandonment.
Do you ever find yourself staring at your phone, heart pounding, waiting for a text back? Maybe it's someone you're dating, maybe it's a friend, but the anxiety feels all too familiar.
That, my friends, is the echo of an unhealed wound. When we've experienced the deep pain of a father's emotional or physical absence, it leaves an imprint, a vulnerability. We carry that tender place within us.
And sometimes that means we walk through the world braced for impact. We fear that same abandonment, that same heartbreak will happen again. So we try to control it.
We cling tightly, needing constant reassurance, or we push away before anyone can get close enough to hurt us. It's a self-preservation tactic, born out of love and loss, but it doesn't have to define us. Chapter 8. The Career Struggles of Fatherless Daughters.
Let's talk about work, shall we? That space where we strive, we achieve, we build our lives. But for many women who grew up without the consistent presence of a loving father, the workplace can become another battleground for worthiness.
Have you ever felt like a fraud, even when you're killing it? Like you've somehow tricked everyone, and any minute now, they'll figure out you don't belong?
That's imposter syndrome, whispering its insidious doubts in your ear. And for daughters who yearned for their father's approval, who maybe strive to earn his love through achievements, it can be especially crippling.
We overwork, we overprepare, we bend over backwards to prove we're good enough, smart enough, capable enough, but it's never enough, is it? Because here's the thing, no amount of external validation will ever fill that internal void.
That ache for a father's love, for his pride in you, it lives within. And the truth is, you are already enough.
Chapter 9. Breaking Generational Cycles.
Here's a hard truth, a truth that took me years to fully grasp. Unhealed wounds have a way of echoing through generations, like a ripple effect. The pain we don't confront, the love we crave but don't receive, it can unconsciously shape our own parenting, our own relationships.
We might find ourselves repeating patterns, recreating dynamics, even when we swore we'd do things differently. This isn't about blame, it's about awareness.
It's about recognizing that we carry within us the legacy of our families, both the beautiful and the broken. And it's about having the courage to say, this ends with me.
We have the power to heal, to break free from those cycles, and to create a new narrative for ourselves and for generations to come. Think about the patterns you've observed in your own family, the ways in which love was expressed or withheld.
The unspoken rules, the coping mechanisms, the ways in which pain was passed down like a family heirloom. It's not about judging our parents or ourselves, but about understanding the roots of our own behaviors.
Maybe you find yourself drawn to emotionally unavailable partners, just like your mother. Or maybe you struggle to express affection openly, just like your father. These patterns are not destiny, they're invitations. We've talked a lot about the pain, the grief, the echoes of absence that can linger. But healing isn't just about tending to the wounds, it's about remembering who you are beneath them. Imagine for a moment that you could peel back the layers of hurt, the armor you've built, the stories you've told yourself.
What would you find? I believe you'd find a core self that is whole and worthy and good. Schwartz calls this reclaiming your core self. It's about reconnecting with that spark within you that existed before the world told you who you should be, before the absence of a father cast its shadow. What did you love as a little girl? What were you drawn to? What made your heart sing?
Those things still matter. They hold clues to the person you are at your core. Healing often involves revisiting those passions, those joys, those authentic expressions of self. It's about giving yourself permission to be fully you again. Not the you that you thought you needed to be to earn love or acceptance, but the you that was always there, waiting to be seen and celebrated. For many, the idea of forgiveness, especially when it comes to a parent, can feel impossible. We might think, what happened to me was unforgivable. How can I even consider letting go of that pain, that anger, that resentment? And I want to be clear. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened. It's not about saying that what your father did was okay.
It's about recognizing that holding on to anger, resentment, and blame keeps you tethered to the past. It's like carrying around a heavy weight, preventing you from moving forward with your life. Forgiveness is about choosing to set that weight down. It's about saying, I will no longer allow this pain to define me. I will no longer let it hold me back from experiencing joy, love, and peace.
So, what's the biggest lesson here? The absence of a father may have shaped you, but it does not define you. The most powerful thing you can do is choose healing. Choose yourself. choose to rewrite the narrative. Your past does not have to be your future. You are stronger than you think, and the life you deserve is still waiting for you to claim it. If this video resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful book reviews, and share this with someone who needs it. You never know whose life you might impact today. And if you're ready to take your healing journey seriously, drop a comment below with the words, "I choose to heal." Let's create a community to uplift, support, and heal together. Also, if you want more in-depth insights from this book, grab a copy of The Absent Father Effect on Daughters by Susan E. Schwartz. Trust me, it's a game changer. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are enough. You always have been.